Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome. Today's video, we're going to be talking about when to begin your estate plan. And for a lot of people, they think there's a certain age, there's a certain time, maybe in a certain event in life, like you're on your deathbed. And let me tell you, that is the worst time to start because that is almost a guaranteed time that it will never get done. Why? Not because you don't want to, but because at that point you just can't anymore. You're literally dying. And I've been there. We're not going to talk about that today, but I have been in situations where people are literally on their deathbed and they cannot finish their estate plan. It cannot be done because the life force is literally leaving their body. It can't be done. Okay. So today we're going to talk about when you can begin, and it's sooner than you think. So don't think you have to wait until the deathbed. Don't wait until hospice. Don't wait even until a diagnosis. All right. So today's video is about 3 key points of when to begin. The first one is going to be not as fun, but very, very important. Okay. Those are the legal requirements, right? You have to make sure everything is legal so that everything can be valid and effective and enforceable. We don't want to waste all this time and energy just to end up with something we can't use. All right. So that's why it's important. It's important to know that in the front end. But then we're going to talk about some more fun things. All right. So let's start with the legal requirements of when to begin. All right. And when it comes to when it comes to timing, there are 2 very important legal requirements to keep in mind. These are for the state of Michigan. So I'm a Michigan licensed attorney, but many probate and estate planning laws would have a similar requirement. Okay. So you want to check with an attorney in your state if you're not in Michigan. But again, this is pretty standard. All right. So the first one is age. There is no maximum age. There is a minimum age that is 18 years old, right? Because as we know, kind of nationwide here in the U.S., 18 years old is the age of majority. It's the age when you're no longer a minority, right? You're no longer dependent on a parent. You are at that age officially able to take care of yourself and your own needs, all right? For many things when it comes to voting, right? You're going off to college usually at that age. We know that alcohol, right, is 21. 18 years old, I think military. So 18 years old is a very standard age when it comes to actually being an official adult and taking care of yourself. So when it comes to designing your estate plan, when it comes to creating a will, 18 years old is the age minimum. All right. You have to be at least 18 years old. So that's when it comes to age. You can be 30, you can be 25, you can be 22, you can be 40, 50, 60, you can be 80. But that's when, again, the more you wait, this second legal requirement comes in as very important when it comes to when to begin. 18 years old, but you have to be of sound mind, or what you may hear as sufficient mental capacity. What does that mean exactly? Well, here in Michigan, that's also defined as having 4 subpoints. Sufficient mental capacity. You have to know that you are making a will to dispose of your property after death. So you have to know that what you are doing is and this is for making a will, okay? It's called testamentary capacity here in Michigan, and it usually applies to many other estate planning documents, such as a trust, such as powers of attorney, okay? In other states, you want to check, they might have similar requirements, but here in Michigan, this is what it is. And so, you know, take it for what it is generally, all right? But sound mind, sufficient mental capacity, knowing that you're doing this thing to dispose of your property after death, all right? The nature and extent of your property is next. And what that really means is you have to know what it is that you own, know what your property is and how far it reaches. Okay, so I have a house, I have a car, I have a vacation home. I know that it's here in Michigan. I have a vacation home in Florida. I have a BMW, right? I have this Volkswagen Jetta, whatever it is. You know what it is, you know how far it reaches, all right? That's the nature and extent of property. The third one, natural objects of bounty. And that's kind of old language, but the basic understanding is that you know kind of what your family is. You know naturally who would inherit from you. Okay. If you have a wife, a spouse, a husband, daughters, sons, your children, grandchildren, things like that, you know who they are. You know that they will naturally take from you. All right. That's kind of the basic understanding of the legal requirement of natural objects of bounty. And then lastly, when it comes to sufficient mental capacity, you have to be able to understand the nature and effect of what happens when you sign this document, what happens when you sign this will. You're basically saying that everything, my last will and testament, is in this document. I understand that signing it, I am agreeing to all of these things. I'm understanding that signing it, this is the nature of my bounty, this is the nature of my property. I understand that this is indeed my will and what I want to be done. Okay. So those are the 4 sub-points when it comes to sufficient mental capacity. Knowing that you're making this to dispose of property after death, nature and extent of your property, natural objects of your bounty, ability to understand the nature and effect of signing that document. Okay. And again, that was very Michigan specific, but you do want to check with an attorney in your state. And again, also though, these are pretty general rules. A state is going to have probably something similar to that. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now let's get to the fun stuff, right? We got the legal requirements out of the way. Okay, you have to be that minimum age, that minimum mental capacity. All right, let's just think about it like that. When it comes to when to begin, this is really what trips a lot of people up. They don't know that they can begin, right? Because they think they have to wait until a certain age. Some people can't if they don't have sufficient mental capacity, right? And that's when other mechanisms come into place. But when it comes to, you checked off those 2 requirements, now do I begin when I get the things? Do I begin when I have the people in my life? Like when can I start? And for me, I take it as 2 different realities. First is your current reality, and the second one is your creative reality. Okay. But the important thing is to start. So let's take this in maybe chronological order then, right? Current reality. What do you currently own? What do you currently have? Do you currently have children? Are you currently married? Do you currently own a home? Do you currently own a car? Do you currently own a bank account? Right? Do you currently own some kind of stock assets, a brokerage account, retirement account? Do you own clothing, shoes, jewelry, computers, like anything that you currently own? What do you have right now? Okay. Think about what you have right now. Think about the people in your life right now. And I say right now because everything is always right now, whether we really realize it or not. Any one of us can be gone right now. Okay. We don't think about it that way because it's morbid. That's how we think. But it's very, very, very current reality. It's a very truthful reality that happens all the time. We just never know when. But when we get into the creative reality, we'll see how we can use even that to our advantage. Okay. But it's very important to assess what you have right now, because if the worst was to happen right now, what would you want to happen to those people that you love and take care of, and to the things that you have that can even further support them when you're gone? So that's why it's very important to know who's in your life. Who's in your life? Who do you care for? What do you have that can help them? Think about it in that way right now. Okay. So if you have a home, if you own a home, and let's say you're not married, um, let's say you only have children, but you have aging parents. Can you leave them that house right now? Would they be able to take care of it? If you leave everything up to chance, they would inherit it kind of by default in the state of Michigan, probably many other states. Okay. Um, if you're a single parent, maybe you were divorced, you own a home, you have children, maybe they're grown children, maybe not. Can you leave them that house? Right? Who would benefit from it if you were gone? What would happen to it? If you have money in a bank account, that it doesn't matter what age, right? Anybody can use more money to maybe pay for bills, pay for tuition, college, maybe even high school tuition if it's like a nice private school, car note, invest in a business, right? Use it as capital for business, whatever it is. Who can use it? If you have it right now, who can use it? So that's one way to really think about it. Think about the current reality of everything that you own right now and all the people in life that you care for right now. And even if it's not someone you're legally responsible for, maybe it's not a child, maybe it's not a spouse, maybe it's not somebody that you help, like a neighbor or aging parents or grandparents. But let's say you're very active in church. Let's say you are very involved in a charity you give your time to. Do you have something right now? Obviously you do, if you really, really, right, are committed and you care, that can help them when you're gone. Are you a tither? I've had clients who they give their tithes, high 5 figures, whatever it is, to the church. They do that. Do you have that ready to go? If you're ready to go right now, right? Is that in your plan? If you have a charity that's really near and dear to your heart, how can you support that? Okay, your current reality. Always think about what you currently own, who you currently care for, help, or support. And if everything was to happen right now, how would you make it happen? Okay, how would you still, even though you're gone, be able to use what you have to support the people that you care about, the people, the causes, the organizations, the institutions that you care about? That's your current reality. All right. So when to begin? Now for that. You have the age minimum requirement made. You have the sufficient mental capacity. You can start right now. Okay. You can start right now. Now this is the second part, the creative reality. This is another reason that trips a lot of people up. They don't have enough, right? They don't have enough to start. They don't have the home yet. They don't have the 6-figure, 7-figure bank account and business yet. So I don't have a lot to leave. I never forget, I had someone contact me about wanting to do estate planning work. I think they may have just been currently divorced, or they were in the process of a divorce, which, that can be so many emotions tied up in that in and of itself. But there were still children involved, and there was still a house involved. And the person said, oh, I want to do some estate planning, make sure the kids are taken care of, etc. But I don't have anything, just the house. And I'm thinking to myself, what do you mean nothing? Just the house? Where are those kids going to live if they didn't have a house, right? So we often think that we don't have enough. And when it comes to especially our creative reality, what we want to see in the future, we really think we don't have it because we don't have it right now. So we just never start. We think we have to wait until we get those things to start. And that is not true. So I want to challenge you today to really think about what it is you want your future to look like, even if you don't have it right now, because it can still be protected right now. Okay. So creative reality, our current reality is what we have right now, what we currently own, who we currently help right now, and how we could use what we own to help them if we were gone right now. But our creative reality, think about these things. What do you desire to own? What do you desire to do or do more of or do differently? Who do you desire to help? How many more people do you desire to help? And what do you desire to be known for? If you really say these words out loud to yourself, it's so much bigger, right, than what you're doing right now, even if you're already doing big things right now. And so that can seem so daunting, and it can seem like, oh, well, I can't start now. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Because the reality is you can always make changes with proper planning. There are very few things you cannot change, okay, when it comes to estate planning. You can always include those assets in your current plans, or like I said, change your plans to include those assets later, but you don't have to wait until you get them to make a plan. That's the entire point of it all. So what do you desire to own? Let's say, you're renting right now, but you desire to have a home. And you're renting, you're making a pretty good income renting. You just don't have, what you need yet to buy the house. But let's say you do have some, children you want to take care of, etc. Just start thinking about, okay, if I had the house, what would I do? How would I be able to take care of them? How would I want it to be passed along? Would I want it to be like a family trust kind of situation? Would I want to put the house there for them to be able to take care? If they're minor kids, especially, it's going to be a little while. What's that going to look like? Just start to imagine it. Start to imagine it. Because really that's what will help bring it about. That's what will help manifest it. What do you desire to do? So I have clients who are like, they buy a lot of real estate. Some of them are investors. Some of them just kind of are property, like landlords. They just rent out. What do you desire to do with all of that, though? And they're getting more. So this is a perfect example for a real estate investor. I know one right now, and we know each other for a long time, and I'm being nice about it, but I'm like, listen, you got to have something in place because you're owning all these properties in your name. That's not cool. There's a lot of liability involved in that, and you can house it in something like an LLC or a trust, right? These kind of legal mechanisms that are also estate planning mechanisms. so that all of that liability goes there, but then also all the property would just be transferred, not from your name to here, to here, to here, to here, but from the LLC to wherever, right? Or from the trust to wherever. It's so much simpler. So think about it in terms of like a real estate investor. You're going to keep getting more properties. Okay. But are you going to wait until you accumulate 100, until you put that somewhere else, right? Until you put it into a trust, until you put it into an LLC to own and manage it all? No, you shouldn't, right? So that's the creative reality. What do you desire to do? What's going to happen to that? How can you help other people with that? You know, especially if you're going to be maybe like starting a business with it, you're going to need employees. Like all these people have to be managed, and that there has to be something, some kind of connection to help facilitate that. Okay. And so that's how you can use estate planning now for future problems or for future aspirations. We don't have to call it a problem. Future aspirations. There are going to be problems no matter what. So don't even worry about that. We can always manage the risk as we go along, but we can't wait until we get there because we lose so much opportunity waiting for the right time, and the right time never comes. All right. So I don't want you to be bogged down in that. But then also our creative value. What do you desire to be known for? And how long? To who? Just your family? And that's okay. You know, if you can trace back your family line for centuries, that's fine because not many people get that opportunity. So if you want to be like a family legacy hero, a family icon, that's you. That's again, it's all up to you. Estate planning is so creative, it's so tailored, it's so customized, but we don't really get into that because we're afraid of what happens to me. And it was really never about you. Okay. So what do you desire to be known for? Is it that family legacy? Is it the business legacy? What I like to talk about is institutions. How many institutions can you build and put a piece of yourself in all of them? If you look around any city, I find this fascinating. Look at the street names, look at the library names, look at the museums, who's in it, who has a wing in there. Like all of this stuff is really estate planning. We don't think about it. Okay, but it's all legacy. What do you desire to be known for? Are you going to house a business that has your name on it centuries later? JP Morgan Chase is just one. Okay. There's so many of them that we use on a day-to-day basis. We get so used to the name, but we never really think about the story and how that name is still alive, even though that person no longer is. Okay. So are you going to create and build a big business? Are you going to open up a school? Are you going to open a world-class training organization? Are you going to house a museum? Like, think so big that you don't even think you can do it now. All right. Don't just limit it to what it is today, because life is never just today. Life is going to continue moving on after we go away. So let's think about how we can really expand life so far out into the future that we never see it, but we'll still be there because we still have this plan in place that's taking over, whether it's the family trust that's still housing or that's still, providing housing and whatever to the grandkids that we may have never even met, whether it is the business that is still employing people and they're thriving, but we never met them, whether it is the museum that we house all these beautiful artifacts in that people can appreciate and take so much history and legacy from years out into the future. Whatever it is, think about it now. So the answer to really when to begin, aside from your, standard legal requirements of being 18 and having sufficient mental capacity, is you start now. You start now. You begin, yes, with your current situation, but you don't limit it there. You go as far into the future as you possibly can. You make changes as you go along. And then guess what? When you get to 10 years down the road, you're going to see, you know what? I still have so much to do in the next 10 years. I'm going to change it. Don't be afraid of change. Change is a constant in life. So is death. Work them together so you can create a plan that's going to outlive you and change the future for the better. Okay. So I hope you've enjoyed the video today. If you want to have more information like this, we do have our Secure Your Legacy Masterclass. Today's May 30th. It's on sale right now until May 31st, which is tomorrow. The link is in the description in this video. If you don't want to, if you're not interested in purchasing, you can still share, subscribe, like this video, comment. Let us know if this is helpful for you. All right. Thanks so much. See you next time.